What is going on? Continuing on our last video about the process of making music in general. In this video, we're going to address the question of, and this is in quotes, can I use blank sampler to make boom bap hip hop? If you feel that the sampler you have or the sampler that you like isn't typically used for hip hop, and you're wondering, can you use this or do you need a specific brand of sampler to make hip hop, this video is for you. But first, I'd like to invite you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And with that, let's get to it. Alright, the reality is, there are definitely samplers that are popular in the history of hip-hop production and in current boom bap hip-hop production. And those are typically used to make the music. They're used by a vast amount of producers, co-signed by people all over the world, and have become part of hip-hop culture in themselves as instruments. And what's also a reality is that any sampler can be used to make boom bap hip-hop. Over the years, I've been continuously shocked by finding out what samplers were used to make some of my favorite classic hip-hop songs. And while some of them were the typical samplers that we know, the majority of them were obscure, unpopular samplers used to make some of the most iconic hip-hop we have to date in hip-hop music. So now the question is, how did we get to this point where we feel that we need a specific type of sampler to make hip-hop? And in thinking back about it, there is a reason for this. And while it's not the only reason, it definitely is a major reason. Whether you're a beginner in the hip-hop production game or a veteran, we have all gotten the talk. What's the talk? The talk goes something like this. You start off in the production game and you've got your hands on a sampler that you like. And eventually you run into somebody else that makes hip-hop music as well. And the two of you get to talking. And of course you end up talking about gear. And they say, hey, what are you using? And you say, well, I'm just using sampler XYZ. And they say, what? Sampler XYZ? No, you need to get sampler MPC or sampler SP 1200 or Machine or Digitact or SP 404, any of the popular samplers. And they proceed to list the many names of everyone that you admire that use the sampler that they're talking about, which makes you feel like the sampler you have is all wrong for boom bap music. So you either put that sampler aside, which of course halts your whole process of music making, and run out to the store and get that recommended sampler that you have to learn from scratch. And because of that, you've now accepted the mindset that you need a recommended sampler to make boom bap music. And make no mistake, I've gotten the talk, and I've definitely given a lot of people the talk. And over time, I've realized that it's best to let everyone use the equipment that they have and the equipment that they like. The best results will always come from that. So how did the classic machines that we revere get popular in the first place? But all instruments that do something very well and efficiently become popular, and they have staying power beyond their years because of those qualities. So take the SP1200 for example. The SP1200 represented the height of drum machine technology at its time. There was no better drum machine that could sample and sequence and be relatively affordable during its time. It was light, easy to carry around from studio to studio. And although it was made in 1987, the SP1200 was built off the reputation of the SP12, which was made in 1985. So it was an upgrade that was embraced by the hip-hop community for all the reasons listed above. And during those years, as hip-hop music grew and became more commercial and people actually started mentioning the SP1200 in songs, which even further boosted its popularity among aspiring musicians and inspiring producers, the SP1200 became solidified in hip-hop culture. By 1988, when the MPC 60 rolled around, it had to break into the market to gain its place, even though it was a superior machine to the SP1200. And so these two drum machines became the most popular, even though at that very same time, classic records were being made with other samplers. So popularity and general acceptance by the hip-hop community has a huge role to play in how we think about other machines in relation to the tried and true samplers that we know. So let's move on to the truth. The absolute truth is you can make boom bap hip hop with any sampler. And more than that, you can make hip hop with any anything that makes noise. Anything within your grasp that you can produce sound with can be used to make hip hop. A stick, a tire, a table, beatboxing, a turntable, clapping. Anything that can produce sound and can be recorded can be used to make hip hop. So if you are now starting out in hip hop, or you've been involved in other genres of music and have an interest in starting to make hip hop, always remember, out of all the genres of music we have today, hip hop is very versatile. Anything goes as long as the end product is great. And the best thing that you can do to make great hip hop is to use the machines that you like. Whatever machine calls out to you and gravitates towards you the most, that's the machine that you're supposed to be using, because it's going to assist you in translating your musical thoughts as accurately as possible to the listener. And at the end of the day, we always have to remember that hip hop did not start with a sampler, and it most definitely won't end with a sampler. It's a very free-form genre, similar to jazz, in that the end result is far more important than the process. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you liked and learned something today, subscribe to us here on YouTube. I will catch you on the next one. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Peace.